So you're ready to mill out your yo-yo. When you come in the CNC room, the yo-yos are on the shelf currently in this box. Just come and grab one of those packages and then make your way to one of the CNC mills. And right now we're keeping them just in the keyboard tray. Grab one of those jump drives and then take it back to your computer. Okay, now that you've got the jump drive back at your computer, take it and plug it in on the back. On your guys' machines, the computers are actually hanging on the back of the monitors, and you've got some jump drives there. So plug that in, and then it might take a minute for the computer to recognize the jump drive to be able to open it up. Okay, on the computer itself, and ideally you would have done this before you ever go up and grab the jump drive, so you're not holding on to the jump drive for a long time. I've got Nolan's program that we had used to troubleshoot a couple things on my screen. If you got this to run and verify and everything worked out okay, so if I verify this, verify program, okay, and it looks right, that doesn't mean that it's going to work exactly correctly on our mill. We're using a different piece of software where this is CNCMotion, okay, and when you take your program over to the other machine, it's going to be Linux CNC, and they actually speak in slightly different dialects of G code, where a lot of it's all the same. Here's a couple things we need to do. Number one, this absolute, the $, to make sure we're in absolute mode, Linux CNC doesn't understand that. So you're going to remove the $. Okay? Now, this is for absolute. For absolute coordinates, we used G90. On Linux CNC, that's only going to be telling the machine to use absolute coordinates for our straight linear distances. When it comes to a G02 or G03 code to do an arc, it's going to default to relative coordinates, but you would have used absolute most likely. So we need another code, and I'm going to insert it on the same line. You need to do that as well. This is going to be I'm going to use capital, G90.1, and that's going to be for the arcs. And you can add a comment there as well. Absolute coordinates for linear distance and for arcs. Okay. At the end of your program, make sure that your movement in the Z direction away from the stock is not too far. Okay, I know on the mill, some of you, the virtual mill here in CNCMotion, you might be having a Z movement of 2.5 inches. Well, the top of our yo-yo is going to be closer to the ceiling of our work envelope than that 2 or 2.5 inches. So we've got to change our Z movement at the end when we're trying to clear the tool away to something smaller. Nolan's got a 1/2 inch. I would go to 1 inch. You've got enough room to go up 1 inch. And then you can also do a rapid Y movement just to move the tool away from, straight away from you a couple inches. So I would probably at the end go up 1 inch and then do a G00, move your tool to a Y coordinate that is away from you a couple inches, okay? So once you've got those changes, you have the $sign removed, you've included the G90.1, you have ensured that your tool is going to stay within the work envelope, otherwise you'll get an error on the other machine. You've got your end program, you've turned the spindle off, you've turned the spindle on. Excuse that announcement there. Then you're ready to save, okay? With this program, this window highlighted, selected, I'm going to come up to File, and then choose Save. And now I need to make sure I know where on my computer that file is going to be stored. So don't just drop it in this sample program, or folder, sorry, but please control where you are saving stuff on your computer. It should be under your username. You have a My Documents folder, okay? Please utilize creating folders inside there. For me, for this one, just to make it easy, I'm going to go ahead and store it on the desktop for a sample, and I'm just going to call it Nolan's. Just do Nolan. And sample, I've got caps lock on, don't I? trying to hold a cell phone and make this video and type. It's not the easiest thing. I need a stand to hold my phone. Okay, so there's that. Save as file type. It's just on this star, all files, that's fine. Let's see, I wouldn't go changing that. It should save as that .nc. I guess we'll just double check that. So save. I'm going to open Windows Explorer. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to look for that file we just created. Here you go, Nolan sample. I see it right here, .nc. Yep, that's it. So now we're going to move this to your jump drive. Okay, so once you've saved your file and you've got it, you put in your jump drive. I open both windows side by side. So this window is showing the desktop folder, everything on the desktop, which is where I've got that file. This Windows Explorer is actually showing the jump drive, which is called Transcend. So it just shows up under that name, it's the brand. And then I can kind of, if I drag and drop, it'll probably move it from one location to the other. So if you want to keep it on your computer, which I would want to, I'm gonna have it selected and then choose Control-C on my keyboard. Okay, to copy, and then I'm gonna come over here, select the window, make sure that window is selected, and I'm gonna hit Control-V to paste. And there you go, now it's on the jump drive and it's still on my computer. I've got it in both locations. I didn't move it from one to the other, I copied it. Okay, so we're back at the CNC and we need to turn this thing on. Just assume you might be the first person to use it. So first off, you got a power strip down here on the right. You want to make sure that's on. It is. I see the green light. And then we're going to press the power button on the computer to power that on. And this machine doesn't take too long. This computer is not running Windows or Apple software. It's running Linux, which you may or may not be familiar with. I was not that, I'm aware of it, but I've never had a Linux computer. Alright, so it's loading up. I'm going to let it boot up before I plug in the jump drive. On the jump drive though, make sure you pay attention to what size has that material, that block, and then what side has the opening when you plug it in, because I found that this one seems to be backwards from what most of us are used to. So you can see on the computer that the block needs to be on top and it ends up looking upside down. So we'll plug that in. Alright, and on the computer, let's go ahead and get our file into the right place. Automatically, a window pops up for the jump drive when you plug it in, and there's my program. Here's the easiest thing for you to do. Just click and hold and drag it to the desktop. Okay, so we'll just make a copy on the desktop. Now I can, inside this window, I can navigate to a new location. I'm going to go to Documents, and then inside Documents, I made a folder called Yo-Yo Projects. Okay, and now we're going to drag ours in here. There you go. When you're inside Linux CNC, you can't see the files on the jump drive for some reason. At least I haven't seen how to do that. And so we're putting it into a place that I'll be able to see it. So there's that. Alright, now you've got instructions to follow on this sheet. Most of it, just please follow carefully. It walks you through launching the software, turning on the controller, checking the e-stop, okay, making sure your yo-yo is clamped in properly, it's secure, powering on the machine, all that. So follow these instructions, okay. At the end, I'll take a look at this, opening the file from inside there, making sure the switch physically is turned on. The router's got its own power switch right there. Make sure it's on. We've got it in the off position for safety. Put on the glasses that are sitting here for you. If you're watching a friend's get run and you're standing nearby, you should put those on as well. If you've got a friend over your shoulder, tell them to put on the other pair. And then you're ready to hit play at the end if you followed all these instructions, but please be prepared to hit the e-stop just in case something doesn't look right, okay? The e-stop's there, you should have already confirmed that it's working. So let's launch Linux CNC and just make sure we see how to open that file. So the little penguin icon. The open file is the little file folder button right here. So we're going to choose open. Brings up a dialog box where you have to go search for your G code or your file. This computer came with the machine, and this CNC's, the manufacturer is called Probotix. So that's really the name of kind of the default user of this computer. If you hit this little rectangle here at the end, this is like a drop down, lets you see different folder paths that you can go back to. I want to go all the way back to the home/Probotix. And so think of Probotix as the user that's logged in right now. And so underneath the Probotix, we've got Probotix's desktop, documents, etc., downloads, and I put it into the document section. And then inside documents, I made a subfolder called Yo-Yo Projects where we're all going to put our stuff. So if you go in there, you go, oh wait, my file's not here. There's nothing here. Well, it's there. Under Files of Type, you need to select All Files instead of the All Machinable. And that should bring it up. And so we had Nolan sample right here. There it is, and then you select it and say Open. Okay, and then you're going to get a file path there on the screen. Alright, if somebody else's program is still showing up on this screen and you'd like to get rid of it, this little broom up here, you can click on that and it'll kind of clear away the previous person's tool path, kind of clean that up for you. Okay, so please make sure now you know how to get your file open, how to get it from your computer onto this one. At this point, you're not going to verify anything. You are going to actually run it. And so we, hopefully on the screen here, the tool path that we loaded looks right, but this time it's going to be live. So just again, hit play. Hopefully it's good, but be ready to hit the e-stop if something looks wrong. If it looks like the bit's going to go into the vise or something, we don't want to have a collision. So enjoy.